Hello everybody, this is Pitch Gold Black here, and welcome back to the 83rd instalment of Underworld updates. My original game plan for this and the next instalment was that I was going to create a multi-parter featuring both Comic-Con related stuff and general purchases since Belfast Comic-Con. However, due to the direction the project is going, and due to what would be a massive difference in length between the two parts, I have now decided to take what was recorded of both parts, exclude a select few, and create one singular instalment rather than two. So here I present to you what is probably quite a long instalment of the series. Enjoy the video and stay tuned for a multi-hour book collection update video coming soon. Not only is this a book that I am excited in terms of reading the contents, because it seems to be quite the fascinating book, but without question, hands down, this right here has to have one of my favourite Doctor Who book covers of all time. So without further ado, let us begin this unboxing. So what is this book, you ask? This is the Big Finish Short Trips release of Farewells, and wow, that is truly a beauty of a cover to see with the eye. Just absolutely incredible cover. I just love it. It's just absolutely incredible. So for the presentation of this Doctor Who book, we have Doctor Who Short Trips Farewells, a short story anthology edited by Jacqueline Rayner, Big Finish up at the top right hand corner. Then for the cover itself, set against this sort of kaleidoscope of blacks and purples, we have sort of various clouds with the first Doctor sort of coming out of the clouds as some sort of unearthly heavenly figure with sort of stars on his jacket, with a long pier at the very bottom of the cover there, sort of lined up perfectly, so it's sort of pretty much in the centre of the cover pretty much perfectly, so it gives it a nice sort of sense of perspective with this character standing down there with sort of sea in the background and more clouds there. As I said, this is one of my favourite Doctor Who book covers of all time, and I think it's just incredible looking. Then for the spine we have Doctor Who Short Trips Farewells, a short story anthology edited by Jacqueline Rayner, and then there you've got Big Finish and then a bit of ex-library guff down there. This is the 16th instalment of the Big Finish short trip range. And then there we've got the synopsis, barcode, the original price, science fiction, bigfinish.com, Big Finish. I think I spent around, I want to say £20 on this book. Yeah, I think £20 sounds about right for how much I spent on it. But now for the synopsis. 14 brand new adventures in time and space. Doctor Who Short Trips Farewells, edited by Jacqueline Rayner. After all, who knows, if I go down well, I might even make it my farewell performance. Sometimes it's easy to say goodbye to a friend, to a way of life, to a lover. Sometimes it's heartbreaking, and sometimes they just won't take the hint. Say hello to 14 stories of goodbyes as the Fourth Doctor contemplates his morality after a funeral. A young man goes to murderous lengths to stop Jo Grant from leaving him. The First Doctor considers his flight from Gallifrey. The Fifth Doctor desperately tries to get rid of an unwanted companion, and more. Featuring stories by Paul Mars, Steve Lyons, Steve A. Roman, Joseph Lidster, and many, many more. Then for the interior of this Doctor Who book, we have the advertisements for all of the sort of stories that are encased within this volume of Big Finish Short Trips, with their titles down there, a definition of the word farewell up there, a quote from the War Games, and then a bit about the book itself, and then a bit about Jacqueline Rayner, and then there you've got various copyright guff and the original price, ISBN number, and Big Finish down there. Then for the other end of the dust jacket, we have advertisements for, or sort of bit of bio about the first 8 Doctors there. For the dust jacket here, we have everything that I showed you just presented on the inner outer dust jacket there. Well, believe it or not, this book is misprinted, unbelievably. And wow, I'm kind of speechless at this. For one reason, in the next part of this 2-part Underworld update that I'm going to be showing you, I unbox 2 other Big Finish short trip books, which I actually have on my shelves currently and I'm looking at. One of which was also a misprinted Big Finish short trip book, which had a error on the actual spine of the book itself, not on the dust jacket, but like on the actual book itself. Just to show you here, this is my copy of Companions without the dust jacket, a Big Finish short trip book I had already had beforehand. So this is what a Big Finish short trip sort of looks like without the dust jacket. The Big Finish short trip book that I'll be showing you in the next part had incorrect numbering on the spine. So as you can see down here, this one has the number that it is in the Big Finish short trip range. The misprint that I'll be showing you in the second part has the incorrect numbering on the actual spine of the book, which is pretty cool. I'm kind of shocked to say this, but Farewells is also a misprint, it appears, the one that I have gotten, because as you can see, it doesn't have the Doctor Who logo on the top of the spine there, which is really, really bizarre. So yeah, I'm assuming that this is a misprint because it doesn't have the Doctor Who logo on the spine. But yeah, this just puzzles me as to how lucky I have gotten right here, because as I will mention in the unboxing of the other misprinted Big Finish short trip book, I have never really encountered anything to do with misprinted Big Finish short trip books. I have heard of Doctor Who books being misprinted in the past, such as I saw on Facebook once the really bizarre case of, I think it was something like an Earthshock target paperback, but it was bound with the cover of the 1990s version reprint of The Awakening target or something like that. So I have heard of like misprinted Doctor Who books in the past, but I hadn't even heard about misprinted Big Finish short trip books before. So the fact that I managed to get 2 in this video, or in these videos, and without myself knowing that I got 2 misprinted Big Finish short trip books is quite amazing and just lucky. Maybe these are mass misprints on all of the Big Finish short trip books, I don't quite know, because I don't know too much about the printings of these books in particular, but it just staggers me that I managed to get 2 misprinted Big Finish short trip books. The actual area of the book, we have $2.99 price sticker there, which would have been a great price to get this book for. Doctor Who Short Trips Farewells, a short story anthology edited by Jacqueline Rayner, Big Finish. And you've got various copyright guff, and then the contents of this book. This is a 233 page long Doctor Who short story anthology spread across 14 short stories. At the back we've got a bit about the authors, coming soon from the Big Finish short trip range, Decentenarian, and then there you've got prologue as sort of a teaser for the Centenarian, and then they've got advertisements for more short trips there. And then you've got just the back of the book there. So yes, that was the first unboxing of this video, and I've got to say I really did start this off with a bang. So for the first book I'm going to be showcasing today, I'm just going to sort of bring it down and present it to you guys, because I wasn't too happy with how the recording of the original unboxing of this went, so I've decided just to hoik that off my scheduling for this episode, and that unboxing is no longer going to happen. I'm just going to bring it down and show you this book. But yeah, in my Q&A video that I recently, or somewhat recently uploaded, one of the questions in it was your most wanted Doctor Who book: Past Doctor Adventure, Eighth Doctor Adventure, Virgin Missing Adventure, Virgin New Adventure. And I think my answer was this particular Doctor Who book, or was one of the answers that I gave. I am of course talking about the Virgin Missing Adventure, Downtime. So yes, this is one Doctor Who book that I've been really interested in not only getting for the collection, but also reading and reviewing, as the Great Intelligence is my favourite Doctor Who villain. And yes, I've heard that this, I haven't heard too much about how the actual novel of Downtime is. I haven't heard of this particular adaptation of the video drama is any good or not, so in a way I'm kind of going into it blind. So we have Doctor Who: The Missing Adventures, Downtime, Mark Platt, and then there we've got a picture of the Brigadier, Victoria Waterfield, and then there we've got a nice sort of pyramid of control spheres with two Yetis in the background, with London in the background, with sort of mist and stuff sort of all around the Yeti's legs in London. Quite a nice cover overall. And then for the spine we have Doctor Who, Downtime, Mark Platt, shrunken down bit of the cover. And then for the back we have the synopsis, where this adventure takes place, a bit about Mark Platt. Cover design is by Slater Anderson, and cover paginting is by Paul Campbell, UK, and then there we've got the original prices, science fiction TV tie-in, barcode. Downtime, a novel featuring the Brigadier, Victoria and Sarah Jane, based on the original video drama. Across the room, in a high-backed leather chair, Victoria saw the old man from the reading room. His face was curiously young from someone so long dead. In 1966, the Doctor defeated the Great Intelligence, but he knew it wasn't a final victory, and his companion Victoria, whose mind had once hosted the evil entity, might still fall prey to its power. Now it seems that his fears are justified. In a Tibetan monastery, the monks display unearthly powers. Units are investigating. A new university has opened in London with a secret agenda that may threaten the whole country. Victoria, abandoned in an age very different from her own and haunted by visions of a father she refuses to believe is dead, is slipping into despair and madness. But are the visions which plague her really hallucinations, or has the Great Intelligence once again made Earth its target for invasion? This adventure takes place after Victoria's departure from the TARDIS in Fury from the Deep. It is an expansion of the video drama of the same name, also scripted by Mark Platt and features some unique photos taken during filming. Mark Platt has worked as both a scriptwriter and author. He scripted the Doctor Who television story Ghostlight, novelised Battlefield, and wrote one of the early New Adventures, Cat's Cradle Times Crucible. And for the interior of this Doctor Who book we have Downtime, advertisements for other Virgin Missing Adventures published there, Downtime, Mark Platt, Doctor Who: The Missing Adventures, various copyright guff there, dedications, and then there you've got forward and then the start of this book here. This is a 263 page long Doctor Who book spread across a prologue and 34 core chapters. And then for the middle, as this blurb gave hints to, there is pictures from behind the scenes filming of the actual video drama itself included in this adaptation of said video drama, which is quite a nice touch and quite a nice picture of Sarah Jane or Elizabeth Sladen there. And then there you've got available in the Virgin New Adventures series, downtime advertisements for the actual video drama itself, and then there you've just got the back of the book there. But yes, the Great Intelligence itself, as I have said, is my favourite Doctor Who villain, and I greatly enjoyed the Lethbridge Stewart Candy Jar book trilogy, The Forgotten Sun, Times Squared, and Night of the Intelligence. I think that was not necessarily a perfect, but generally really solid sort of expansion to the whole arc of the Great Intelligence. And in my view, the definitive Great Intelligence arc that there is the two original Patrick Troughton stories, The Abominable Snowman and The Web of Fear, and that's book trilogy published by Candy Jar. So maybe this will be another instalment to said perfect series, said sort of perfect arc that I consider the Great Intelligence to be with, namely those two Troughton stories and that book trilogy, as I've just said. But yeah, maybe this will be another addition to that. It would be really nice if it was, but we can all just hope it's better than that piece of shit that was Avatars of the Intelligence. I had forgotten its name there, thank goodness, but I've now brought it back, and some flashbacks as well, good golly. But yeah, there we go, there was the first book that I showcased in this video, Downtime by Mark Platt, a book that I am both really interested in reading and reviewing. And on to the next book unboxing we go. Yes, another book from World of Books this time, and this one being a Virgin Missing Adventure, being The Menagerie. So without further ado, let us take a look at the presentation of this Doctor Who book. So we have Doctor Who The Missing Adventures, The Menagerie, Martin Day, with the second Doctor up at the top there, and Jamie down there, with a very nice sort of city type thing in the background, with some more of the city there, with one of the Menagerie, I'm assuming, down there. Very interesting and cool looking cover. And then for the spine we have Doctor Who The Menagerie, Martin Day, picture of the Menagerie there, I'm assuming. Then for the back we have the synopsis, bit about the author, cover designs by Slater Anderson, UK $4.99, US $5.95, Australian $9.95 recommended price, science fiction TV tie-in, barcode. And now for the synopsis. The Menagerie, an original novel featuring the second Doctor, Jamie and Zoe. It is said that by some that this city rests over the Great Menagerie. Men who fell tempted to meddle in science were cursed and turned into beasts. A nameless city on a primitive, rain-sodden planet. The ruling knights of Kubris survive to keep order as hideous creatures emerge from the sewers to attack the populace. It seems that there might be some truth in prophecies after all. When Jamie languishes in the castle dungeons, the Doctor is forced to lead an expedition beneath the city to search for the fabled Menagerie of Ukazao. Meanwhile, Zoe has been sold as a slave to a travelling freak show, and one of the exhibits is coming to life. This adventure takes place to television stories, The Space Pirates, and The War Games. Martin Day is the co-author of a number of books on television, including Doctor Who The Discontinuity Guide. His journalism and short stories have appeared in magazines such as Alpha, Doctor Who Magazine, Alternatives in the Enemy. Yeah, and also one thing I want to point out, this is an ex-library coffee. This is an ex-library coffee which comes from Ballymena in County Antrim, Northern Ireland, which is quite interesting for a person that lives in Northern Ireland. And then for the interior we have the sort of library jacket sort of coming away there. And there you've got the Menagerie, quite a extensive rip of the book up there. Then there you've got Doctor Who The Missing Adventures, already published down there. The Menagerie, Martin Day, Doctor Who The Missing Adventures, library stamp there. And then there you've got various copyright guff there, dedication, and then there's the start of the book there. This is a 264 page long Doctor Who book, spread across a prologue and epilogue as well as 20 core chapters. And then for the back here we have advertisements for Virgin New Adventures, and they just got a blank page at the back there. So yes, this is a Doctor Who book I haven't heard too much about, I would have said personally. And I sort of mainly got it to try and complete the second Doctor books that I needed, and I think I have achieved that goal by now with this. I was also going to order the first Doctor Missing Adventure, Empire of Glass, but that was a bit too expensive on Amazon at the time. It was like 12 quid or something. I didn't want to spend that much on that book, but I may succumb to that one day. But yeah, I don't know too much about this Doctor Who book. Really don't know too much about it. I'm just sort of going into it blind really, which should be interesting. But yeah, I am interested in reading it. But yeah, I am looking forward to reading The Menagerie, and it's going to be interesting to go into this book blind. For within this parcel here we have Heart of TARDIS. Yes, this is a Doctor Who book that has intrigued me for a little while now, as it appears to be a sort of duet Doctor book with both the second Doctor and the fourth Doctor, and I've also sort of made it a goal to try and get every single 1960s era book that there was published in terms of original fiction, and this was one that I needed to obtain. So yeah, and so it should be quite an interesting read overall. And Dave Stone is quite a mixed or controversial writer for the realm of Doctor Who. I have read about 40 pages of Sky Pirates quite a while ago now, and I remember liking that a lot. I do like sort of psychedelic stories and stuff like that. Force the Shadow is a bit psychedelic, I would have said, so I think Dave Stone is going to be a writer for me, but that's quite unheard of in the Doctor Who community, I think. Without further ado, let's take a look at the presentation of this Doctor Who book. So we have Doctor Who, Heart of TARDIS, Dave Stone, BBC, and then for the cover itself you've got the second Doctor, the fourth Doctor, then the TARDIS in the middle for massive sort of wisp of flame in this sort of massive sort of circular sonar radar type thing with various Roman numeral years around the side there, with Dave Stone at the bottom there. And for the spine there we have Doctor Who, shrunken down bit of the cover, Heart of TARDIS, Dave Stone, and then there you've got a continuation of the cover with a few library stickers there and BBC down there. And then for the back you've got a continuation of the cover. Got to say, really stunning cover, I would say personally. And then for the back we have the shrunken down bit of the cover again up the top there, synopsis, and then there you've got barcode UK $5.99, US $6.95, $8.99 Canada. Doctor Who and the TARDIS are trademarks of the BBC. And now for the synopsis. In the American Midwestern town of Lynchburg, something is afoot. Its citizens are being killed in inexpressibly horrible and brutal ways, and the police don't have a clue who's responsible. The only suspects are a mysterious and sinister stranger who calls himself the Doctor and his young companions Jamie and Victoria. The fourth Doctor and Romana, meanwhile, have been summoned by the Gallifreyan High Council. A force has been unleashed into the space-time continuum, a force so unimaginably terrible that it sets to rip the universe itself apart and plunge it into primal screaming chaos from which nothing will survive. Of course, since something of this nature happens every other day of the week, the Doctor is far more interested in finding what happened to a close personal friend, who seems to have vanished under mysterious circumstances, and quite right too. The face of a universe plunging into fetid, unending chaos can look out for itself for a change. This is an adventure concerning the second and fourth Doctors, and takes place between the Tomb of the Cybermen, the Abominable Snowmen, the Stones of Blood, and the Androids of Tara. You lucky people. And for the interior of this Doctor Who book, we have ex-library guff here, sort of library stamp and whatnot. So yes, this is a library copy. various copyright guff there, acknowledgements, library stamp there, and then there you've got preamble by Dave Stone there, and then just more sort of preamble-y stuff there. Then you've got the start of this book here. This is a 280 page long Doctor Who book spread across a prologue, an appendix, an epilogue, as well as 25. There was the unboxing of this PDA adventure, Heart of TARDIS. I heard this is meant to be a bit of a bad book, but I think this is going to be a case of where curiosity gets the pitch in this case here, because I've heard this book is meant to be quite bad, and I will be giving it a go, but I'm not quite sure when, as I've got quite an extensive reading list that I've laid out so far, so I don't quite know when this is going to be read, but I will be giving it a go one day. And there was my unboxing on Heart of TARDIS. And on to the next book unboxing we go. For within this parcel here, we have the 4th Doctor Past Doctor Adventure book, Drift. So without further ado, let us take a look at the presentation of this Doctor Who book. We have Doctor Who Drift, BBC, Simon A. Forward, and then for the cover itself we've got tree line, the TARDIS with sort of snowy footprints leading up to it, all sort of set against this sort of hue of blue and white and sort of greys. It's a very nice sort of cover overall, very atmospheric and snowy like. Then for the spine we have Doctor Who, shrunken down bit of the cover, Drift, Simon A. Forward, BBC, and then there we've got the back there, and then there you've got barcode UK 5.99, US 6.95, 8.99 Canada, Doctor and the TARDIS are trademarks of the BBC, and then there you've got a picture of the TARDIS at the back there. And now for the synopsis. White, the perfect camouflage for ghosts. White consumes the New Hampshire landscape, and troops move in on a survivalist cult following a spate of unnaturally severe blizzards. The Special Forces group White Shadow is searching for the missing fragments of a US Air Force jet, crashed whilst engaged in top-secret test flights over the region. The Doctor and Leela arrive at quite literally the wrong time. Thanksgiving is approaching, traditionally a holiday all about home and family, but this year all that is lost. Lost like the local community, in the grip of something far more sinister than a harsh winter. Like young Amber Malowicz, a victim of a broken home that won't even settle in one place. Even White Shadow is lost, out of its depth, and up against an enemy not even the Doctor can find in this world of white. An enemy that promises the bleakest of midwinters for the people of New Hampshire, and before springtime, the end of life on Earth. This adventure features the 4th Doctor and Leela. And then for the interior of this Doctor Who book we have Doctor Who, Drift, Simon A. Forward, BBC, and then there you've got various copyright guffed. Drift, home is where the heart is. This is for all those who have ever lost heart. And then there you've just got a blank page there, and then the start of this book. This is a 278 page long Doctor Who book spread across 20 core chapters, as well as a little epilogue at the back here called Thanksgiving. And then there you've got a bit about the author, and also available from BBC Books there. So yes, Drift is a fairly controversial Doctor Who book, I will have said. There's a lot of mixed opinions on it floating around on the internet. And personally I am quite looking forward to this Doctor Who book. I'm quite looking forward to see which line I will end up, whether I'll like it, whether I'll hate it, will I just be in the middle on it, will I just find it average, etc. From reading the synopsis it does sound a little bloated and overblown, but then again 278 pages is quite a lot of reading. There's quite a lot of space for a book to fully flesh out everything. So hopefully Simon A. Forward manages to create and weave a interesting Doctor Who book, and I'm a really big fan of the paranormal stuff, which is sort of part of the reason why the Fourth Doctor, Past Doctor Adventure book, Science Fiction, ended up being the very first original fiction Doctor Who book I ever read, shortly after the very first Doctor Who book I ever read, Target novelisation of the Ice Warriors. I've always loved the paranormal. I found it a fascinating concept, and I loved shows like Ghost Adventures, with Zach Bagans, Nick Groff and Aaron Goodwin, if I can remember all of them names right. I just absolutely loved that show ages ago, and I still have probably almost 40 episodes downloaded to my computer, of which you see the Monster of Witch in the background. I just love the paranormal and whatnot. I think it's just a fascinating concept for me, and is one of my favourite things for a Doctor Who book to go down, and best example of that being the Stonehouse Class, I would have said, which I have reviewed in the past. Also, I've reviewed Science Fiction. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where this Doctor Who book takes me. I'm interested to see if there's going to be sort of any paranormal stuff in it, and I'm just sort of fairly interested to see where it takes me. I've heard it's a bit slow at the start, but hopefully I like this book overall, and I am quite interested in reading Drift.
And on to the next book unboxing for this multi-part Underworld update, which will lead us quite nicely into some Virgin New Adventures, or some more Virgin books rather. For within this parcel here we have, as you would have probably guessed, a Virgin New Adventure, Birthright by Nigel Robinson. So without further ado, let us take a look at the presentation of this Doctor Who book. So we have the New Adventures Doctor Who the new Doctor Who Adventures, Birthright, Nigel Robinson, and for the cover itself, gotta say, absolutely spectacular cover. We have the TARDIS, some sort of bug creature with a wall in the background there, sort of trees, sort of Houses of Parliament in the background there with Big Ben, and sort of the Thames there, sort of drained Thames, I would have said, with Westminster Bridge there. Yeah, really nice cover, and the book itself is in really good condition as well, which is awesome. Then for the spine we have Birthright, Nigel Robinson, Doctor Who logo, and then for the back we have the synopsis, UK, a bit about the author as well, UK $4.50, US $5.95, Australia $9.95, recommended price, science fiction TV tie-in, and then we have the barcode there. And now for the synopsis. I feel like a pawn in a blasted chess game, Ace. I know what you mean. Trouble is, they keep changing the chess players. The TARDIS has died. Stranded in early 20th century London, Bernice can only stand and watch as it slowly disintegrates. In the East End, a series of grisly murders has been committed. Is this the work of the ghostly spring-heeled Jack, or, as Bernice suspects, something even more sinister? In a tiny shop in Bloomsbury, the master of a grand order of sorcerers is nearing the end of a 700-year quest for a fabled magic wand, and on a barren world in the far distant future, the queen of a dying race pleads for the help of an old hermit named Moldwitch, while Ace leads a group of gorillas in a desperate struggle against the alien oppressors. These events are related. Perhaps the Doctor knows how, but the Doctor has gone away. Full-length original novels based on the longest-running science fiction series of all time, the BBC's Doctor Who The New Adventures takes the TARDIS into previously unexplored realms of time and space. Nigel Robinson was for several years the editor in charge of novelisations based on Doctor Who television stories, who also wrote a few Target novelisations such as The Underwater Menace and The Edge of Destruction, both of which I would recommend. Now a freelance writer and editor, he has written several Doctor Who novelisations, as I just said, various other books about the programme, and one of the earliest New Adventures, Time Wirram Apocalypse, as well as novels based on Indiana Jones, among numerous TV and film spin-offs. Then for the interior of this Doctor Who book, whoa, that is a serious bit of tanning right there. Holy mackerel. And then there we've got Birthright. Then there you've got advertisements for already published Virgin New Adventures. Then there you've got the new Doctor Who Adventures Birthright, Nigel Robinson. And then there you've got various copyright guff there. And then the contents of this book here. This is a 216 page long Doctor Who book or novellary type of thing, I guess you'd call it. I think it just about qualifies as a novel. Spread across a prologue, 2 epilogues, as well as 29 core chapters. And then for the back there, we just have advertisements for Doctor Who The Adventures Continuing Doctor Who magazine, with Ace having Vietnam flashbacks. And then there you've got more of that ridiculous tanning in the back there, which is kind of crazy, which would explain that big sort of streak there. But yeah, not complaining at all. Just happy to have the book. But yeah, I've heard that this is meant to be a really good Virgin New Adventure, and this is definitely one I shall be reading and reviewing in the future, as this is one book that I am really, really hyped for. I think I might have said this in another one of the unboxings, but all of the books in this video I should be reviewing and stuff like that in the future, and this is probably my most hyped one, I would have said, out of all of them, maybe along with Downtime as well. But yeah, really happy to have this book, and I shall be reading it and reviewing it.
To the next unboxing we go. Quite happy to have this book in here, as it is a rarer Doctor Who book, this one. Yeah, this book goes sort of up and down in prices on Amazon, and it's a Beneath Summerfield Virgin New Adventure. A couple copies, about 4 copies, went down to about £2 each, from what it normally is, which is like, I want to say like 18, 20, 30 pounds. So this is I believe this is the rarest Beneath Summerfield Virgin New Adventure book that there is, from her solo range of books that happened after the Doctor Who ones. So it is quite nice to have this. So in a way it's like the Lung Barrow, So Vile a Sin, Dying Days version Beneath Summerfield New Adventure book. And as it is, to my knowledge, the rarest Beneath Summerfield Virgin New Adventure that there is, and it comes in a nice protective library sleeve as well, which is nice, which is good. But yeah, I'm just sort of really happy to have this book, as it is the last instalment of the Beneath Summerfield Virgin New Adventure range, and I believe it is the rarest out of the range as a whole, and that is Twilight of the Gods by Mark Clapham and John D. Berg Miller. Yeah, one thing that really sort of crossed my mind when ordering this book is the cover itself, particularly the torso here. I haven't actually seen the movie Batman vs Superman, but I have seen in the trailers that there's like this torso statue with the writing false god on it or something like that. So I'm wondering if that trailer or the movie Batman vs Superman is referencing this book. I could be completely incorrect about that, but it's just a little observation that I thought I would point out. But yeah, for the cover itself we have Twilight of the Gods, Mark Clapham and John D. Berg Miller, with this sort of big torso of one god there, spaceship flying around, and big city sort of in destructions with more sort of rubble and torsos there. I've also heard that this book cleans up a lot of arcs and stuff in terms of the Beneath Summerfield range, and sort of ends it all, as it were. So in a way, this is like an ancestor cell type of book for the Beneath Summerfield range. And looking at the cover, it appears they return to the same city or planet that they went to in Return of the Fractured Planet, as I see a lot of sort of similarities with the technological city and whatnot in the background of the book covers here, so I'm thinking this is connected to this, as it most likely is, as I've heard there's a lot of arcs and stuff being cleaned up and stuff in this book from what I've heard, as I've just said, particularly with this sort of disc shaped building at the top here, appears to be crashing down here. But yeah, just a little observation, like I said, with the Batman vs Superman reference possibly, that I thought I'd just point out. For the sprite we have Twilight of the Gods, Mark Clapham, John D. Berg Miller, various library guff there, but under that is a NA logo, one of those just there. Then for the back we have the synopsis, NA, a bit about the authors, cover designers by Slater Anderson, cover paintings by Freddie Gambino, UK $5.99, US $6.95, science fiction, barcode. Twilight of the Gods. Oh, why not, Benny said. After all, I've died before and it never did me any harm then. The once peaceful planet of Della lies in ruins. Yeah, I was right about that, because it says the fragile stability of the Delian quarantine on the back of Return of the Fractured Planet here, so it does take on the same planet. The godlike beings who infest the place have lured the inhabitants into holy wars, suicide cults and genocidal pogroms, which I've never heard of before, that word. As they run out of victims, the deities plan to invade more planets, and other races are preparing preemptive strikes to stop them. Humankind's small sector of the galaxy is about to become the battleground of Leviathans. There is just one hope. Professor Bernice Summerfield is surprisingly alive and well, and she's coming home. Bernice and her friends are determined to dispose of the gods once and for all, at any cost. This is Mark Clapham's third half novel. He lives in London and currently inhabits the scary void between university and career. John D. Berg Miller has written articles for several telefantasy magazines. This is his first novel. So yeah, it sounds like a very big and epic Doctor Who book, and does sound really interesting. And then there you've got various not various copyright guff, but various ex-library guff there, with the earliest date being 22nd of November 2002 by the looks of it. So yep, there is that, and there's this lift up. Yep, we got Twilight of the Gods underneath that there. So yeah, my copy is an ex-library, as you can tell. The New Adventures, Twilight of the Gods, Mark Clapham and John D. Berg Miller, NA. Then there you've got various copyright guff there, another library thing there, dedicated to the Bloomsbury local group, and who these authors would like to thank. And then there you've got the start of the book. This is a 239 page long Bernice Summerfield Virgin New Adventure spread across 16 core chapters. And then there you've got the publishers afterwards. And then the New Adventures complete list of Bernice Summerfield books. Oh no, it isn't. Dragon's Wrath, Beyond the Sun, Ship of Fools, Down, Deadfall, Ghost of Vices, Mean Streets, Tempest, Walking to Babylon, Oblivion, The Medusa Effect, Dry Pilgrimage, The Sword of Forever, Another Girl, Another Planet, Where Angels Fear, The Merry Shoe Extrusion, Dead Romance, The Tears of the Oracle, Return to the Fractured Planet, The Joy Device, and Twilight of the Gods. So yeah, I probably won't read this book for a little while now, as I have heard there is sort of various arcs and stuff that get cleaned up in this book from various other sort of Bernice Summerfield New Adventure books, such as it takes place on the same planet as Return to the Fractured Planet. And I think that's also the same planet from Oh No It Isn't as well. Yeah, it takes place on the same planet as Oh No It Isn't as well. As it says on the back of Oh No It Isn't, Professor Bernice Summerfield is setting into a new job as Professor of Archaeology at St. Oscar's University on the planet Della. So it ends where it begins, as it were, sort of like a Pink Floyd album. It ends as it begins, like Dark Side of the Moon with Heartbeat and whatnot. But yeah, this should be an interesting read after I've read much more of the Bernice Summerfield Virgin New Adventures, but that is much later down the line, and I just got this as a collector's sort of item, as it were, just to sort of get the rarest one out of this range out of the way. Don't expect a review on this anytime soon, as I would want to complete the Beneath Summerfield Virgin New Adventure range before going into this book, and reading pretty much the entire range before going into this book. But yeah, there is that, a very nice copy of the rare Twilight of the Gods, the final Beneath Summerfield New Adventure, and the final Virgin New Adventure book as a whole. And on to the next Big Finish short trip unboxing we go in this collection update, which is, interestingly enough, the very first one that I'm recording, and the first clip that I'm recording for this video as a whole. Ooh, buddy, this is a beauty. This is... oh, it comes with a nice protective thing, that's nice. This is the Big Finish short trip timed signature. So for the presentation of this Doctor Who book, we have Doctor Who Short Trips Time Signature, a short story anthology edited by Simon Guerrier. Then we've got, for the cover itself, a rendition of the John Pertwee title sequence in the background there in white, with all sorts of bits of smoke, a creepy person holding a rose, and TARDIS with open doors there. And for the spine, Doctor Who Short Trips Time Signature, a short story anthology edited by Simon Guerrier, 18. Then for the back, we have 10 brand new adventures in time and space, Doctor Who Short Trips Time Signature edited by Simon Guerrier, synopsis featuring stories by Ben Aranovich, Andrew Cartmel, Jonathan Clements, Mark Platt, Matthew Sweet, and many more. And we've got the barcode and the original price. A city destroyed by time itself, a country torn apart by revolution, a man in a boat with a biscuit tin. The Doctor doesn't just change the lives of those around him. His actions echo through history, shaping the universe, changing it, rewriting it in his own hand, but making it better. Is it a good job he never sticks around for long afterwards? And yet, for all that the universe may be infinite, for he who keeps moving, the Doctor can't outrun the consequences forever. And yeah, we've also got a Big Finish logo down here, and another rendition of the John Pertwee title sequence in the back there. And as you can see, this all sort of comes in this nice sort of protective sleeve. Sort of reminds me of how my Tomb of the Cybermen hardback arrived, if you remember that unboxing from goodness knows how long ago. So yeah, I'm not going to try and peel the sellotape off, as you might be able to hear. I am just cutting along the plastic, which I will actually show on video, for the sleeve, so it's like an easy little flap for myself to open and sort of close. I don't have to worry about sellotape and stuff. There we go, I would say that would do in all of its glory off of the book, with a bit more about time signature there, and the stories that are in this book, and a little guide to the Doctors there. Then for the book without his dust jacket, the interior of this book, we have Short Trips Time Signature, a short story anthology edited by Simon Guerrier, Big Finish, Doctor Who, various copyright guff, and then a contents page there. Yeah, this is a 215 page long Doctor Who book, and then we have advertisements for various other Doctor Who Big Finish short trip books that have been published. So Centenarian, Farewells, History of Christmas, Solar System, and then big sort of block advertisements of all of the ones published. So there we go, there was my unboxing on Short Trips Times Signature. Really interested in diving into this short trip compilation, and in turn reviewing the short stories in this on my second channel. But yes, on to the next Big Finish unboxing. on to the next Big Finish short trip unboxing. I opened it ever so slightly here just to make sure that it wasn't like, you know, something I didn't order, but it turns out it is something I did order indeed. In case you haven't guessed already, this is the Big Finish Short Trip book, past tense. So without further ado, let us take a look at the presentation of this Doctor Who book. So we have Doctor Who Short Trips Past Tense, a short story anthology, Big Finish, edited by Ian Farrington. Then there we've got a picture of the 2nd Doctor, 7th, 4th, 1st, 6th, 5th, 3rd, 8th. And they've got various years sort of surrounding them: 2000, 1969, 1593, 1914, 1983, 1933, 1191, 1960, 878, 1981, 1928, in this sort of very sort of sharpshooter sort of pattern there, with a sort of nice sort of explosion in the background, which reminds me of a Doctor Who title sequence, which is very nice, and very nice cover overall. And at the point of this recording, this is the 10th Big Finish short trip that I have obtained in my collection, Doctor Who wise, if you don't count Beneath Summerfield Big Finish short trip books, as I do have one of those at the point of this recording. But looking at my shelf, this is the 10th Big Finish short trip hardback book that I have in my collection. For the spine, we have Doctor Who Short Trips Past Tense, a short story anthology, edited by Ian Farrington. So number 6 Big Finish. So yes, I have number 2, number 3, number 5, number 7 and number 8 before this video, and now I have number 6, so that means I actually have, funnily enough, 6 out of the first 10 Big Finish short trips that there were done. Oh, actually I do have the 10th one, 2040, so I do have 7 out of the first 10 Big Finish short trip books that there were, and hopefully I can track down the other 3 sometime soon. For the back we have the synopsis, who the stories are by, Barker, UK 1499, science fiction, Big Finish, bigfinish.com. And now for the synopsis: 17 brand new adventures in time and space. Doctor Who Short Trips Past Tense, a short story anthology edited by Ian Farrington. Throughout all of his travels, the Doctor has had many adventures, both on Earth and in the past. His affection for this particular planet is clear, as is his enjoyment of seeing history happen. Past Tense features stories set exclusively in Earth's past, from the heady atmosphere of the Shakespearean London to the shadowy world of pre-war Istanbul. From the time of King Alfred to the turn of the millennium. Established writers of this for Doctor Who television, print and audio are joined in this collection by fresh talents and new voices. Featuring stories by Eric Saywood, Nev Fountain, Nicholas Briggs, Joseph Lidster, Mark Wright and many more. And as you can see, as I was saying, the pages are just crystal white. There's a bit of stainage to the bottom there, but I'm not too bothered. The pages are white beyond white. It's amazing. Then for the interior, then we've got a bit of more info on Dust Jacket there, sort of a bit more about the short story compilation that this is, and featuring the stories that there are in this book, with a very long title, That Time I Nearly Destroyed the World Whilst Looking for a Dress, which ends the short story compilation off. Then there we've got Doctor Who Short Trips Past Tense, a short story collection edited by Ian Farrington, Big Finish. And then there you've got various copyright guff there. Contents. And then the start of the book there. This is a, let's have a little look here, 241 page long Big Finish short trip book, spread across a total of 17 short stories in total. And then at the back we've got advertisements for Big Finish short trip books that are available now: Steel Skies, Life Science and Repercussions, all of which I have. And then there you've got a bit more about the short trip compilation itself and the definition of what this short story compilation is themed around, as every single Big Finish short trip book is has one central coherent theme or connecting narrative to it, like Repercussions, but most have a theme to it. This being history, Universe of Terrors is horror, Steel Skies is claustrophobia, Life Science is science, etc. Well, look at the book without the dust jacket, it's just sort of plain black. Doctor Who Short Trips Past Tense, a short story anthology by Ian Farrington. Number 5, Big Finish. Wait. What the heck? That is really weird. Okay. Right, I think I may have gotten a misprinted copy of this short story compilation because on the dust jacket here it says it is the 6th instalment of the Big Finish Short Trips range, but on the cover, on the actual book itself, it's printed number 5, which is really weird. And I actually have what is the 5th instalment to the Big Finish Short Trip range, Steel Skies, which, as you can see on the spine, says number 5. And let's have a little look here. Yeah, and the spine of it says number 5 as well, without the dust jacket. So yeah, this is the 5th short story instalment done by Big Finish. It just so happens that they've misprinted my copy of Past Tense to have number 5 on the spine, whereas this is actually the 6th. So that is a really, really interesting and bizarre and unique misprint that I have in my collection now. That is really, really bizarre and fascinating at the same time, which sort of makes this even better and even rarer then, I guess. Very, very interesting thing to have in my collection than a misprinted Big Finish short trip book. And then for a quick look at the dust jacket, we have it there. So there we go, there was a misprinted copy of the short story compilation by Big Finish Short Trips Past Tense. So yeah, very interesting thing to have in my collection, that the fact that this is a misprinted Big Finish short trip book. As you can see there, it says number 5 on the actual book itself, but on the dust jacket it says it's number 6. The book itself is supposed to say number 6, as this is the 6th instalment of the Big Finish Short Trips range, whereas Steel Skies is the 5th. But yeah, really, really bizarre and interesting thing to have in my collection for that reason. But I am looking forward to diving into this short story compilation, and yeah, it's going to be a really interesting read. Right, so to quickly give a little recap to everything that I showcased in these past 2 Underworld updates in terms of books. We have Blue Box Boy by Matthew Waterhouse, a memoir of Doctor Who in 4 episodes, hand signed by the man himself, obtained at London Belfast Comic Con 2018. This particular copy of which being an impression from the same year. Past Doctor Adventure, Heart of TARDIS. Past Doctor Adventure, Drift. Virgin Missing Adventure, The Menagerie. Virgin Missing Adventure, Downtime. Virgin New Adventures, Birthright, and Twilight of the Gods. For Big Finish Short Trip books, we have Past Tense with an error print, being the wrong numbering on the book itself. farewells with another error print, being there is no Doctor Who on the actual spine of the book without the dust jackets that I'm talking about, and then just a copy of Time's signature on the end there. So yes, I greatly look forward to reading and reviewing all of these Doctor Who books in some capacity in the future. With these short trips here, I shall be reviewing individual short stories out of them on my second channel, Pitch Skull White, which I shall be rebooting in order to accommodate reviews for short stories on that, as I am interested and looking into that being a possibility for that channel, so get excited for that. But yeah, there we go. So like, fair, comment, subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Pitch Skull Black dematerializing.